7 months ago, and also separately 3 years ago, Ben Jordan, who I think might be Venus Theory's dad, made a few videos on some software called Metasynth by You and I Software. I immediately fell in love with the whole idea of it. The idea of drawing a frequency spectrum to make sound was mind-blowing to me, and furthermore, the things you can do with samplers is unlike anything else I've ever seen. As a lot of my subscribers may know, I recently started a master's degree at the RWCMD in electronic composition, and in one of my classes for the whole first term or semester, we were looking at acousmatic music. And if you don't know what acousmatic music is, then I might do a video on it one day, but Denis Smalley is a great composer within that field, and in the description I'll link a talk he did about spatiality in acousmatic music. But the best and most simple way I can describe it is music and sound being made with no intention of any instrumentational methods of making music. So no clear notes, no meter, and so on. And there are exceptions with something called gesture surrogacy, but that's a whole other subject and would be a whole other video. Anyway, Metasynth is a perfect tool for acousmatic music. It's unlike any other DAW or synthesizer that's out there. There is no muscle memory that could relate to another piece of software. There's no piano roll, there are no drum machines, all you have is a drawing board. I say Metasynth is great for this artsy, abstract music, but it can be used in a more traditional sense. The example brought up frequently is Aphex Twin's Windowlicker EP. In fact, Ben Jordan said,
Aphex Twin took note of this, and his 1999 classic Windowlicker EP used it so much that it could almost exist as a product demo.
So today we're going to be exploring this piece of alien software and just seeing what we can make with it. And I know that a lot of people don't own a copy of Metasynth and it's not cheap, so if you can't follow along as you might do with my Ableton videos, I hope you enjoy this video nonetheless. And if you'd like the samples recorded in today's video and some samples I recorded previously in Metasynth, then I'll put them up on my Patreon and can continue to do so after this video has been published. And I'll keep updating that sample pack. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now and let's just get into the video. Alright, hello everyone. So yeah, this is Metasynth, and as I mentioned, this was used a lot in Aphex Twin's Windowlicker EP, especially in the song Formula or Maths or whatever you want to call it, but let's be honest, no one calls it by its real name. It was also used a lot in the Matrix movies, and Ben Jordan did a great interview with the sound designer of the Matrix films, so I'd heavily recommend going to watch that, and I'll link it in the description. And yeah, I need to explain real quick the layout of this video, or hopefully the layout of this video. I'm not going to be doing like an in-depth dive into how to use Metasynth in every single way possible. Because one, I'm quite new to the software, so I don't know myself, but also, even if I did know, it would probably be like a 2-hour video. So this might be in multiple parts. I might do another video on it one day. I probably will. But for now, I'm going to be making some samples. We're going to have some percussion stuff, some drums, some melodic content, some sound effects, some noisy shit. And yeah, I'll explain what I'm doing along the way instead of going into everything and then making the sounds. So I hope that's alright with you. Yeah. If you want the samples, as I mentioned, they'll be on my Patreon. And I'll keep updating the sample pack because this is kind of a sample inspiration machine, in all honesty. But let's just get into it, and I'll do some quick explaining of the basic stuff. So you've got an effects room here. It does what it says on the tin. You have your audio effects, and they will affect anything in its sample playback area here. Then you've got your image synth. This is why everyone loves Metasynth. This is where you get to draw sound. You've got your image filter, same as the image synth, but instead of you drawing sound, you draw filters. And I believe it's explained that every pixel within this is a bandpass filter, or I'm not really sure. It's genius stuff. Anyway, then you've got a spectrum synth. You can pull the kind kind of frequency spectrum of a sample up here, and it will analyze it here, and then you can stretch it, move stuff around, draw in other bits into the frequency spectrum. I think it's very confusing. Then you got your sequencer. It's a sequencer. That's about it. Then you got your montage room, which is kind of like arrangement view in Ableton, but with some extra quirks. So yeah, let's just get into making some noises. So here is your image synth, and let's just draw something in. Let's go into our brush mode points and draw in some nonsense. It looks like a fish, so let's give it an eye. Okay, not very musical, but what else can we do with this? Well, we can turn it into stereo. And I should mention now that with stereo mode, yellow is central in your stereo panning field, red is left, and green is right. And also, whether you're in stereo or mono, the brightness of your colours will affect the volume. So the darker something is, the quieter, and the brighter something is, the louder. So let's play. Okay, so that's all in the center, but if we go into our filters up here and have it from, let's actually just highlight our little fish first. And now have it going from left to right. There we go. So what else can we do? Well, we can move it around. We can rotate it, and we can scale the image too. We can also put a displacement map on it, which displaces the drawing. And if you right click this, you have extra displacement maps here, which I didn't realize until quite a while into using this. And let's put another filter on this. Cool. What else? Let's bring down the luminance so it's a bit quieter. And now we can put all the pixels here into a scale. So let's go for minor melodic. Cool, we can change the octave here. It's not making much of a difference at the minute. But what else can we do? So we've got some drawing effects over here. And these correspond to this grid here. So let's motion blur everything. Very nice. And let's talk about the grid. If I press G, all these blue squares appear. And if you've used Photoshop before, this is very similar to the layers in Photoshop, but we have a grid layer, which is basically kind of a way of telling where we are with our notes or with our rhythm or whatever it is you want to know. And this corresponds to our resolution and our tuning map up here. As you can see, we've got many different tunings. So which one did we pick over here? Minor harmonic. So let's turn this into minor harmonic 2, and if we draw the scale in again, completely changes. So let's go into our layer 1. Completely different sound to it, and let's try micro 16. So yeah, this will completely change what you're doing. Exponential is every frequency. A lot of it is inaudible. So yeah, okay, let's try and do something a bit more musical. So let's go back to semitones, draw our grid in again, and let's go into our repeats brush, and let's get something a bit nicer in. But I should say as well, here you have a quantized grid. Again, they're not rhythmic values, so it can be a bit tricky. So let's go for 16 here and 8 there, maybe. What does this do? I believe these are quarter notes. I'm not sure if I mentioned that now, actually. So these are quarter notes. And our tempo here, yeah, 180.147. Okay, so let's keep that note, and then let's bring this up to 64. And let's go... What note are we here? We are on F3. So let's go to C4. This will sound quite bad for a while. Let's go to 48 here. And F sharp, or F3, sorry. Let's go to A2. Bit of a funky rhythm thing going on. And let's see what is actually making the sound. We have this grain synth here. I'm not really sure how the grain synth works, in all honesty with you, but let's just switch that to... Oops. Switch that to our wave synth. And now we have a pure sine wave. These synths in this program are really quite powerful. You can shape your waveforms just by clicking and dragging these. Or you can draw them in by hand. Or you've got these tools here. So what can we do with this? Well, let's put some reverb on it. Let's also put a stereo filter on it. What should we go for? Let's go for this one. It's quite fun. Alright, and now let's put a very small echo on it that isn't rhythmic. I mean, it will be rhythmic, but that's not quite enough. Let's go for like 14. Cool, okay. So now let's go into our new layer and let's draw in something else which is completely separate. So let's go... Sorry, there is a lot of trial and error with... Or at least I find there to be a lot of trial and error. Okay, and now if we press the @ symbol, it sends it to our sample playback up here. Now, what can we do with this? Well, if we go into our effects room, let's say we can send it into our wave shaper, maybe. And here we can change the effect balance. Here it's drawn in with this envelope, but I would like it to be a slider value. Now we can send this back up to the sample playhead, and let's normalize it and send it into our filter. let's have a really kind of prickly filter for this. I mean, that sounds nothing like this, so let's keep this safe. Save sound as, and melodic rhythm. And now let's send this up there. Let's normalize it. Cool. And now let's also save this. Melodic rhythm filtered. Now here we can open up our sounds and it takes us straight to that folder. But anyway, let's carry on in here. Maybe let's make a drone. Okay, so as you can see here, I've just dropped this part down an octave and just added 2 notes here. You can't really see it, but you can hear it. So now, if I go into here, I can add harmonics here. So let's see how that sounds. So what's cool about that, in my opinion, is that we are still using just a sine wave, but because we've added more harmonics into the fundamental notes, it sounds like an almost sawtooth wave kind of thing. I don't know, it sounds very FM, and we can keep adding more harmonics onto it. But what I'm going to do for now is save this as a preset. Actually, no, I'm going to delete those harmonics and then save it as a preset. So here you can do Command S to save current preset, or is it in this one? No, it's here. So not Command S, Shift S, and then boom, it's in your presets here. So now let's add a bunch of harmonics. Cool. Let's extend our y-axis. No, our x-axis. So it's double the length. Zoom out a bit. And let's select all of this half. Duplicate it over here. But what we're going to do with this half is bring it down a couple of notes. And just so this fades into each other a bit nicer, let's go here. Well, before we do that, just to be safe, let's capital S it again, save it as another preset. And let's just smudge the notes together a little bit. It kind of worked, but maybe if we go into our select box here, click and drag just to this last section there, and then over here we can click these different effects. So let's do fade out, click here, click off it, and then it fades out a bit. And let's have this fade in. There we go. Okay, so now let's save that as another preset. What can we do here? We can motion blur it and drop it down another octave to get real ambient with this shit. Nice. I've just saved it as another preset again. Oh, I just found in the presets file. This is one I did a while back. The same kind of technique. I think there are a few different versions. Okay, cool. Now let's save this up to here. Let's normalize it. Let's go into our effects room. Let's put some grain on it. Let's grain it out. Okay, sure. So go back to our image filter. Let's put this through one of these. Back up to our sample player. Let's normalize it again. Let's go into our effects room. Let's shuffle it. Let's do some of that and some of this and a bit more of that and some more of that, and then let's quantize it down here. Okay, cool. And now we have it there. Let's put some reverb on it. Cool, okay, done. Okay, so let's move on to some percussion. Okay, so as you can see, I've changed the grid. So we're only at 256 by 128. And I've doubled it a few times. So now, where we had our quarter notes before, these thicker lines now are... No, these are our quarter notes, the thicker lines. Before they were a bar, apologies. And these smaller squares are 16th notes. And also, I've gone in and changed our instrument, so it's a sampler with narrow noise A2. Let's hear what that sounds like. Lovely. And yeah, let's draw in some drums. So if I click into here, and let's get a triangle, and pull this like so. I'm going to try and do a sort of cheesy drum and bass beat. Maybe for the snare, this shape. Maybe a bit further down. And then carry on with our kicks. Okay. That's not too bad, considering... Oh, I have got the fade in there. Let's just carry on drawing on. Let's carry on drawing in snares, but let's put some of our effects on it. So maybe 16 with echo. Maybe 8. That might be good. Okay, I like that. Maybe when the echoes start, we will put a stereo filter on it. Let's go from right to left. It's not too audible, but you know, we can work with that. Let's smudge this sort of fake kick here, so we kind of pull into it. Or maybe let's just chop the top of it off and see what happens. Okay, cool. So we've got our basic kick and snare pattern. Let's add some other things into it. So let's maybe do some hi-hats. Where would they be roughly? Maybe here? If these are 16ths, we're going to want every other one playing. Maybe the third one filled in triangle. Okay, cool. So as you can see, we got our kind of hi-hat pattern. I've used just different length triangles and whether they're filled in or not. I think the filled in triangle sounds more like an open hat, so I extended it a bit more. Let's have a listen. And I don't like that first snare, so let's sort that out. I'm going to delete that. Let's try for triangle, like our hats. Maybe a filled in triangle. Very cool. And let's just fix this as well. Okay, cool. So now we have our basic kick snare hat pattern. Let's try some different tunings. Yeah, I just like the semitones. So maybe let's try different octaves. So I prefer the kick and snare with the center being A2, but you can't hear the hat, so maybe nudge them down by an octave. Very cool. Let's do some editing again. So maybe with our first snare. This might be shit, but bear with me. Let's put some reverb on that. I really like that. Let's duplicate it over here. Let's reverse time and have it fade into itself. Smooth right. What if we go here and do fade out? So we've just got a more subtle effect. Very cool. Now let's go into our hi-hat layer and let's... I haven't found a way to just change the colour of something already drawn yet. But I would have drawn these in red if I knew I wanted them left, but let's just do it like that. Cool, so there are some drums. I'm going to send it up to the sample playback and let's have a listen. Very cool, let's save that sound as noise drums. Okay, yeah, there's our drums. It's a bit tricky to remember what to do first, because when starting this I didn't know about this quantized grid here, and trying to make drums is a pain in the ass. But there you go. Now let's send this to our effects room and maybe compress it. Actually, let's shuffle it. And let's over here quantize the shuffler. Let's just do some nonsense now. So let's go into our new preset and let's just draw a big circle, because why not? Nudge that over there a little bit, and then maybe here's some lines like this. Then in this one, maybe we could do that. Then we could turn the stereo, put some weird filter over it. Alright, that's cool. Alright, I like that. I like that bit there. So let's bounce this out and let's select this part of our file. Alright, let's get rid of these first two bits. I really like that. All right, but we could also quantize these to, say, a major scale. All right, cool. Let's motion blur it a bit. Let's maybe try exponential. Nice. Put some reverb on everything. Okay, cool. Let's edit our instrument. Let's try whatever that may be as well. Okay, now I'm just doing this to see how the Spectrum synth will take it. So auto build sequence from analysis. There we go. That is that. And you can change your spectrum size. Change the interpolation. Let's change our tempo. And here you can add some more frequencies into it. You can smudge them a bit. What else can we do? Let's just erase these a bit because they're going to be very loud. Okay, let's go back into the image synth, and I just wanted to quickly try something. Let's open a picture file. Wow, okay. Try to extend that a little bit. Maybe open the picture file again. I think we're glitching out a bit there, but let's send that to the sample playback. It looks like it's going to take a while. Okay, it's done. Let's try putting it into the Spectrum synth, see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, I did some editing with the Spectrum synth from this image synth here. So we had it on exponential, so it's every frequency. And in the Spectrum synth, you can just about see the image. So maybe if I transpose it all down a bit. Yeah, there it is. So I think that's pretty cool. Let's maybe try and change color. Okay. So low gamma is working, I guess. Not really sure how this section of it all works. But, you know, It's trial and error. We have fun. But yeah, as you can see, what that has done is it's taken all the frequencies and put them in the Spectrum synth, which I think is really cool. And now we can save that as a sound. So yeah, how cool's that? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I think I am going to do a part 2 on this. I think I'm going to do a much more organised series on this program. There's just so much to it and I'd really easily get lost in it. So I do apologise, but I hope you enjoyed the video. As I mentioned, all the samples will be on Patreon. And yeah, let me know what you thought of the video. Thanks.